Business Today. My name is Rowena Kajumba, and it's time for us to take a look at our insight. This particular morning I have very interesting gentlemen who are going to be discussing a very interesting topic as well. And of course I do hope that by the time we're done with this conversation you'd have picked a thing or two. Now we must identify that the first industrial revolution used water and steam power, in this particular case, to mechanize production. Now the second did use electric power to create mass production. Now we're looking at the third, which used electronics and information technology to automate production. Now the fourth, in this particular case, is a building up, you know, when you build onto the third. But that's not my place to explain. With me I have two gentlemen here who are going to be talking to me about the fourth industrial revolution. Right next to me is Kwame Rugunda, who is the CEO of CryptoSavannah. Am I right?
CryptoSavannah.
CryptoSavannah. Oh, jeez. Yeah, I'm missing something. You're very welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
And at the extreme end there is Noah. I'm going to attempt this. Noah Baalesanvu. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Awesome. Who is the chairman of NICEAG, and the two of them, to start us off, are going to first explain to us what it means. But real quick, you're very welcome.
Thank you.
Indeed. When we talk about CryptoSavannah, what are we talking about?
So CryptoSavannah is a technology company.
Okay.
It's a technology company that focuses on building solutions, advisory in blockchain technology, big data, artificial intelligence, and various fourth industrial revolution technologies.
Interesting. I'm with the right people. When we talk about NICEAG, what are we talking about, Noah?
Okay. So the NICEAG is a body here in Uganda that brings together operators of our national critical infrastructure and to address cybersecurity risks. So NICEAG actually stands for the National Information Security Advisory Group. And so it has members from both the private sector and the public sector, and the main purpose, and these are critical infrastructure organizations. So they run our utilities, our internet, our e-government, banking, and any other service that we deem critical to the operation of Uganda. So we come together as a group to address cybersecurity, particularly our cybersecurity risks.
That's a whole lot of work.
Yes, it's a whole lot of work because Uganda is fastly digitizing, and so many of our service delivery is actually happening electronically. I think even NITA right now is going through an e-government drive. And so as we get more and more services online, that becomes now a critical point. Internet a couple of decades ago was a luxury. Now it is necessary for even government to make payments, for even us to be here. We need the internet services to be running. And so someone needs to be looking out for security at that level, especially at the critical level where you need critical services to run, like your power, your electricity, your banking. And so we come together as a group to address those risks and manage them and help each other, because together we form a better, a concerted effort against cybersecurity risks than when we are separately.
We'll get into that eventually in regards to cybersecurity. But when we talk about the fourth industrial revolution, what are we talking about?
So you put it actually pretty well. The fourth industrial revolution, by the mere name, means that there was a first, second, and a third. So like you well put it, the first industrial revolution was steam power. That's where we got the initial startings of mechanization. We moved away from using the wheel, horse, and cart. Now we had steam engines moving goods and services across. Then the second industrial revolution was sparked by the invention of electricity. And so with electricity came high-speed connectivity, faster than steam engines, of course. And here people could communicate at distances. This is now the light bulb, the telegram, and all those things that came as part of that. And that also had its effect on trade at the time, trade and society. The third industrial revolution is marked by the invention of the internet and connecting people at high speeds across the world. Now businesses happen on the internet. In the 90s, it was just early 80s and 90s. It was just small communities that were on the internet, research institutions. But the minute banks and businesses got online, that exploded to what we know today. The largest companies in the top 10, about 6 or 7 are internet-based companies. So it changed the way we changed business, changed society. So at the fourth industrial revolution, we are seeing a trend we're seeing, and it's actually a collective number of technologies. We have blockchain, we have artificial intelligence, we have the Internet of Things. Now everything is connecting to the internet. We have robotics, we have nanotechnology, nanomedicine, and so it's a collection of technologies that are blurring the lines between machine and man. As you notice, as we go along the industrial revolutions, man has been making machines to make work easier.
Yep.
And so as we try to make work easier, we are creating ourselves.
But we'll get into,
better versions
we'll get
of
into
ourselves.
what that means to us eventually. But
Sure.
People are a bit skeptical about some of these things, artificial intelligence, robotics, but like, we seem to be getting ourselves in some sort of unknown world. That's what probably out there. But let's look at challenges. I don't know who of you will take which, and then we look at the opportunities of what this actually brings to us.
Okay. I can take a dab, then Kwame can chime in. The challenges are there, and they're definite, and anything that is unknown presents, it's uncharted waters. And so what we are seeing now is that as we delegate more of our work to machines, then that now begs the question, what do we do instead now? And that's the biggest conversation around artificial intelligence is around that, because now we have made machines that can be our digital assistants right now in your phone. And even here in Uganda, as long as you have an Android phone, you have a digital assistant. You just fire up Google and tell him, make for me an appointment, and they do it. So then what does a human do next? So those are some of the challenges. When we come talk about things like blockchain. Blockchain is now a technology that is removing middlemen. You know, instead of working through a bank or a financial institution, I can work directly peer-to-peer. If I'm to send you money, I can send you money directly without a need of a third party. And many other ways in which blockchain is disrupting the status quo. And with any disruption comes the discomfort of unknown. And so those are some of the challenges. Information. There's a lot of lack of information. People, and because of where there's a lack of information, abuse happens. So you find scam artists taking advantage of people, you know, saying buy this, you get that. And so we are seeing that, because, as with any new technology, there's that first wave of uncertainty. But then as we see more and more applications coming to the light, coming to the market, then there is more and more confidence in the technology.
Yeah, interesting. And there's many people that are taking advantage because they know the public doesn't really have the right information. Okay? And then I'm very interested in the issue of cyber. We'll get into that later. Let's look at the opportunities that do come with this change.
Sure. I think I'll start by when you were discussing the point on the unknown. What is coming ahead of us? I mean, even just in our daily lives, we're not so certain of tomorrow. But we know that tomorrow is inevitably coming. I mean, today is Thursday, we know Friday is coming. But even as we know Friday is coming, we should prepare for Friday. And that's the same thing that we are seeing here. This technology is an inevitability on the horizon. This fourth industrial revolution is coming at us, and we have a responsibility as a society to engage with it, to understand it better. Not to fear, not to be unprepared, but rather to consciously engage. Understand what it means, what is happening in the rest of the world. Understand how we can prepare ourselves as individuals, our systems, as society, our nation. Whether it's in our education systems, whether it's in training our young entrepreneurs, whether it's the policies that we are creating, and so much more. Now, onto the point on the opportunities. I just want to highlight that there's already a lot going on. Our own Makerere University here has a leading artificial intelligence program on the continent. So Google opened last month its artificial intelligence program in Africa, in Ghana. And it hired people from Makere's AI lab, which goes to show the quality of our talent. We see drones already in action here in Kampala.
Everywhere.
Recently, when we had the landslides in Bududa in October, in order to identify what the root cause of the problem was, they had to send drones up to be able to establish how the banks of the rivers broke and so on. So this technology is already being used. Blockchain, like Noah mentioned a few minutes ago. Robotics, big data analytics is being used to monitor different systems in town, whether it's traffic lights and so on and so on. So there's already utility of these services in Uganda.
Interesting. So how does this get to impact businesses out there, if someone, because you know we did talk about how it all started and how it got to affect people's lives and businesses. Maybe if I'm someone out there into something I want to do, how does this get to impact on probably how better I can become at what I'm doing? Or
so I'll start from a higher level and then come down. So the big conversation internationally right now is a topic called the future of work. How is employment going to change over the next decade with these new technologies coming online? And so for the ordinary Ugandan out there, it is about understanding how the technologies are going to affect their current work and preparing for that. Just as Kwame has said, we know Friday is coming, but we prepare for it. We know we have to work. And so at the end of the day, it is about preparation, education, educating yourself about these technologies and seeing where the opportunities are. Kwame just highlighted a couple of examples here. Uganda is already leading in the areas of blockchain in Africa, in the areas of blockchain and AI. And so because this information is not as widely spread, we don't know, or we think that the wave is coming. It's already here. And so understanding those things and being able to prepare, education is a key thing that we are focusing. Even at the task force level, one of the key pillars is education. How do we prepare our young people today for the jobs of the future? We might be training them for jobs we know that will not exist. And so how are we recognizing that and preparing them for that? And so for the ordinary Ugandan is that it's to realize that technology is going to change the way we live. Just like how you see internet changed life. Right now our lives we are all connected through our mobile devices. And that is a window to our world, to our digital selves. Now if you extrapolate over 10 years from now, what will that society look like? And so thinking through these things, you then see how you can position and understand what the new opportunities are. Now things that are going to be in demand is creativity. I was reading a report yesterday that said Microsoft, Facebook and Google have removed the need for degrees in their applications. Meaning that they're looking for people who are thinking a certain kind of way, a different kind of way. Not that education isn't important. As long as you can do something. Yes, as long as you can think differently, create differently. It's not like when we were growing up where the need to remember was the main thing. It was about your memory. That's why you do exams without a book, because they're trying to see if you can remember what you learned. Now we have Google and Wikipedia. No employer is going to ask you to remember. You understand? Now they're going to ask, how creatively are you solving a problem? And so those are the job opportunities of the future. And that's what we want to prepare Ugandans for.
So what we're saying is that this is actually shaping, we're seeing something that's actually shaping for a totally other different kind of future.
Yes, yes. The people who saw the internet coming are the big companies now. We are the starting line with the rest of the world, with 4IR.
Well, the internet has come a long way.
I'd like us to put two pieces together that Noah just mentioned that I want us to really think about. Initially, he mentioned that the technology companies are now the leading companies in the world. Google, Facebook, Apple, Microsoft, and the rest. Then he mentioned a second point, that Google, Microsoft, and Facebook are no longer asking for degrees when they're going to recruit new hires. And on top of that, Ernst & Young also recently internationally has stopped asking for degrees. So what does this mean about our traditional understanding of education? Our traditional understanding of aspiring for work? So this is a real shake on the traditional way things have been done.
Oh, that's a huge shake.
Therefore, we need to prepare the young people with the appropriate tools and skills that will be relevant tomorrow. And those are definitely different from the tools and skills that we were prepared with, because we were prepared for today. But now we're talking about
the future.
Tomorrow.
So where are we now as a country? Where are we at as a country?
Kwame is just giving you some examples. Our Makerere Institute or the Artificial Intelligence Research Institute, AIR, is the leading AI research institute on the whole continent. And this is a study done both by Google and by Intel. It's not even coming from us. This is these big names that lead in the industry. When they were looking around the continent, they found the best use cases here. Recently, some researchers in Makerere won a grant from Google out of a competition with 6,000 worldwide, 6,000 applicants. Only 22 were chosen. The only African that was chosen was from Makerere. So that's why I was saying on the continent, Uganda is leading in terms of AI. The same thing can be said for blockchain. We have a number of organizations that are already keenly looking into blockchain, both in the public and the private sector. Our government is looking into how blockchain can be made to effectively increase efficiency of service delivery.
Okay.
When it comes to big data, and you know, organizations like NSSF. Our NSSF is actually setting the benchmark on the continent in the use of technology. They use AI for, you know, even when you're interacting with your NSSF, there's AI in there, there's big data in there. And so in different spaces, technology is being used immensely. And so what we are saying is, now how do we bring these conversations together? And then how do we start saying, okay, now what does the future look like?
Okay. Now, speaking of that, yeah.
I will just supplement with one important point. The fact that Uganda recently inaugurated a national task force on the fourth industrial revolution, which is chaired by our former Minister of ICT, Honorable Nasasira, goes to show the seriousness of our nation, because we are beginning to prepare for the future. The ultimate purpose of this task force is to domesticate fourth industrial revolution and to translate it into our own understanding and then make policy recommendations to government.
Interesting. Now, with all that said, there's a conference coming up.
Yes.
Please tell me about it.
Yes. So the conference that is coming up that we are involved in organizing is the Africa Blockchain Conference. Okay. It is the second year we're having it. Last year we had the inaugural Africa Blockchain Conference in May last year, at which His Excellency spoke, and then the former president of Mauritius was here, and there were various other delegates. This year, on the 3rd and 4th of July, will be quite a large gathering at Serena. We expect about 3,000 people in total from, you know, Africa and around the world. The keynote address will be given by the president of Sierra Leone, who will be coming to Uganda to deliver a keynote address at the Africa Blockchain Conference. And then we'll have, again, various leaders in business, in technology, in policy, and it's an event that is open to all Ugandans. We want to make sure that there are as many young people as possible, as many young innovators, as many young entrepreneurs, students as well, the corporate class. Would like to have as many Ugandans represented.
You know, all categories.
Absolutely.
That's very interesting. So, what should we expect from the conference?
So the conference is going to run over 2 days. And the theme of the conference is preparing Africa for the fourth industrial revolution. So there will be the conference where there will be an extensive amount of conversations on these pertinent issues we're discussing, whether it's on artificial intelligence, whether it's on blockchain, whether it's on the future of work, the future of education, these subjects that we're just discussing, then 4IR in the area of the Sustainable Development Goals, technology for impact. So a series of conversations in which we'll have global experts from these companies leading these discussions. And of course, like we're discussing the relevance to our local context. And then there'll be panel sessions. We'll also have a series of investors there who will be looking for local technology companies and local innovation solutions to work with. The banks are being heavily represented. We have several partners like Stanbic and various others who we're working with to organize it. So that is on the conference side. Then there'll be a technology exhibition, the Africa 4.0 Tech Expo. And there we will have a demonstration of various of these solutions that we're discussing, such that people can actually see and understand how 4IR works, whether it's the utility of drones, whether it's utility of robotics, and so on, and how it is that they can be used in our lives.
Okay, so how is this working? Are all these activities in one place?
All these activities are in one place, yes.
So what comes first and what comes next?
They both come together.
Oh, together. So you could be at the conference, and then, you know, when you have a break or something like that, you go around and see what the exhibitors have.
Exactly. The things that you're partaking in discussing, you can actually come and see at the experiential journey at the Tech Expo.
Interesting. So how many participants do you have in this?
So like I mentioned, we expect...
apart from the people that are probably coming through, but in the exhibitors, you know, if we're looking probably, I'm sure you're probably targeting the younger minds.
Yes.
How many, roughly, if you can give us a picture, because we want to know if people are really interested, these young people are interested. So roughly, how many people have you seen really interested and come through?
Yes. So the exhibition tent that we'll be using can accommodate up to about 50 companies. And so we'll have stalls for booths for smaller, we'll have the smaller booths, the medium booths, and the larger booths. And in each of these, we want companies that are actively involved in innovation to be able to come and showcase. Like I mentioned, we think it is critical for people to be able to see what innovations are being developed. And there's several of these. Like Noah mentioned earlier, Makerere University is leading in artificial intelligence. A Ugandan recently won an award at, we saw this publicly on BBC, for developing, being able to establish, check malaria just with a torch.
That took me as well, right? I was like,
So there's a huge amount of talent, but this talent needs to be given visibility and prominence. And so the exhibition will enable for this.
Okay, so what does it take for, what do I have to go through maybe to be a part of that?
Yes.
What's the process like? Do I have to come and register with you, with specific people? How does it work?
Yes, so the process is pretty simple. The website is www.africanblockchain.org. And I'll say it again, www.africanblockchain.org. So that's the website for the conference. And there people are registering, people are purchasing tickets, and people are learning as much as they can about the event.
So to go to this conference, you have to pay something?
Yes, you have to pay something.
How much could that be?
Sure. So there's the ticket cost. We're running an early bird ticket cost right now of $120.
Okay.
And that is what will enable one attend the event for 2 days at Serena and participate in all these sessions. And by buying a ticket, you can as well attend the tech exhibition. But then there'll also be ticket sales for the tech exhibition. So that is just 15,000 Uganda shillings. And someone can spend, time going through all the exhibitors and seeing what is being demonstrated there.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So let's look at what you're looking in terms of what solution are you bringing on board with this conference? Why decide, okay, let's have this conference?
So it ties directly into what we were talking about earlier. The theme of the conference is preparing Africa for the fourth industrial revolution.
And this is the time, you feel this is the time?
We are absolutely sure.
We're right in the middle of fourth industrial revolution.
Very interesting. Okay, one last question I want to ask both of you, because we're running out of time. The issue of appreciation of what this is. We've talked about the robotics, everything, the artificial intelligence, and the whole internet aspect of it. But each of you will tell me what you think in terms of appreciating this phase that we're in. As the world globally, Africa and back to Uganda, do we actually, are people appreciating this?
I think appreciation can be looked at in two ways. The first way is in usage. We are, like I said, we are smack in the middle of fourth industrial revolution. We have smartphones, they have artificial intelligence, we are on 4G. Some of our networks are saying that the whole country is covered in 4G. And so we are in the middle of the fourth industrial revolution. But now in terms of appreciation is how do we move from being expert users, as His Excellency likes putting it, to become creators? How do we start creating these solutions for us? Because now we are using things that were created before. How do we now start becoming, we ourselves as Ugandans, becoming creators? And that's the opportunity that I say we need to grasp, because the entire world is trying to grasp this now. And so we have the opportunity to start creating products, AI-based products, blockchain-based products, robotics. I mean, there are very good robotics programs here in Uganda that are shaking the industry. How do we now start creating the products of tomorrow so that Ugandan, African companies are the ones that are in the top 10 in the next decade or 2 decades?
Okay, Kwame.
Yes, I'll just supplement by actually emphasizing what Noah just spoken. What has been our place as a people, as Africans, in the previous industrial revolutions? We have essentially been behind. We have taken long to catch up, participate, and the role we have ultimately played is that of a consumer. Now, the fourth industrial revolution presents unique opportunity. As a result of the third industrial revolution, this concept of the internet has now become ubiquitous. So knowledge has been democratized. Therefore, it is possible for anyone, anywhere today to be able to participate in the fourth industrial revolution as a result of internet being ubiquitous. Therefore, I do not need to sit in New York or London or Paris. I can sit here at UBC or in Nalia or in, Gulu, Nalukolongo, anywhere, and become an active player in the fourth industrial revolution. And this is what Noah was saying. The whole world is at a starting point. We're at the same starting point. So the only advantage that one had over the other was means of production. And now knowledge, which is a key a core component of means of production, is abundantly available.
Yes.
So Africans have a unique opportunity to play a lead role, a creator in the fourth industrial revolution.
Okay, awesome. So I want you to talk to, maybe focus on the camera and talk to the people in regards to the conference.
Yes.
Real quick.
We're delighted to extend an invitation to all Ugandans to participate in the Africa Blockchain Conference 2019. On the 3rd and 4th of July, we'll be gathered together at the International Conference Center, and the focus of the event is going to be preparing Africa for the fourth industrial revolution. If you want to understand what it means, if you want to participate in shaping it, if you want to meet business and technology leaders from around the world, I invite you to join us on those 2 days at the International Conference Center in Serena.
Okay, well, thank you so much, gentlemen. Very interesting discussion. I'm sure it's something you cannot exhaust, even if you decided to talk about it forever. But real quick here, we've been looking at the fourth industrial revolution and also looking at the conference that's coming up. So probably you can get yourself involved and find out what this actually means to you, because trust me, that is where we're headed, like it or not. But right next to me here is Kwame Rugunda, who is the CEO of CryptoSavannah, and he did tell us what he does. And at the extreme end there is Baalesanvu.
Yeah.
Jeez, I'm getting it. Baalesanvu, and he is the chairman NICEAG, and he did talk about a couple of things. I think we'll need to make more time in regards to some of these things independently. But thank you so much, gentlemen, for your time. I do appreciate it.
Thank you.
And my time has run out, but I do appreciate you for watching me come Monday to Friday from 9 to 10 a.m. My name is Rowena Kajumba from me and the entire business team. Have a good day.
Thank you, Rowena.